let's talk about how we move on in this, what I call a new hero's journey. So far as I can see, this is a journey of exploration with an awakened mind, open mind, to live truthfully and utilizing all we have, full potentials. It is about finding the destiny, knowing how to go about living our life, relating to others, including the nature, but not also people and animals and all the environment. Doing the best we can. I have a background from Zen and meditation. I studied scriptures of all different religions and so forth. I also have engineering and MBA background. I cover from Japan, US, 40 some countries, shop floor to top management, different functioning organization, and so on and so forth. And at age 64, maybe I can say something about what I felt in my life in this journey and for the rest of the time I have. And I've written books, but I'm not the guru or teacher in this journey. I like to see myself as a person who wants to live truthfully, to do the best, and I want the audience, perhaps you, to join in this process. Thinking about how to explain this, what I call the new hero's journey, I came up with a few quotes and I'd like to share that. And many of them have background from Zen and Bibles and so on and so forth, but I just want to choose few to see if I can explain my picture to you and see if you may be able to relate to what I'm trying to say and do in this process as we move on. Number one, my belief is that there's no teacher in this journey. The job has to be done by each person. And it's similar to even a person called Milton Erickson who talks about hypnosis. It is the patient who does the therapy, is what he says. From the point of Zen, there's a quote I can share with you, which says, "You can lead a horse to the water, but you cannot make it drink." Well, I guess that's in the proverb. Similarly, Hakuin says, "In the water, people cry for water, without knowing it's already there." There are also contradictions and seemingly paradoxical or conflict situation, but those imply that if we just use our conscious mind, we'll hit the wall. And I think that's true for anything if we think about it, because when we have the insight, awareness, wisdom, understanding, that's when we have the aha moment. It's almost like our thinking goes beyond the usual space, but rather connected to the source, subconsciousness, whatever you call it. So, as a result, many expressions may sound paradoxical. The picture or the mountain you see now is not the mountain. When you awaken, that's almost like a paradox. Or you can say, I hear, but I cannot hear. We want to manage without managing. we like to teach without teaching, all connecting to that paradoxical state of how our mind functions, so that when we are aware, we can see the broader understanding, not the limited view from our mind. So let's go on some of the other paradoxical, seemingly difficult expressions, not to scare you, but trying to have our mind to be open to what we may courageously move on in exploring our life the best we can. Zen is full of paradox. It says one of the koan, the puzzle, is called the gateless gate. There's a gate, but it's gateless. In meditation, Goenka is one of the guys from Vipassana who said something like, in practice, in the night you may not be able to sleep. Don't worry, that's good. Why good? You have to understand. But basically, you accept the realities of what's going on and work diligently to find out what you can do. Another paradoxical expression from the sutra, Yuima Sutra, is if you search for it, the Dhamma or the law, you will not find it. Searching mind is already a lost mind. Awakened mind doesn't need to search. So again, paradoxical. Many masters, I think, has the same understanding. The Picasso says, I do not search, I find. I'm not sure if he studied Zen, but many words that he expressed connect to the very essence of spirituality, religious understanding, Zen, Buddhism, Sufi, Christians, and so on and so forth. The esoteric thinking or view, perhaps you may call it. Let's work on more Picasso. Someone asked him about his work, and this person said it gets better or something, and the Picasso's response was, it takes a long time to become young. The younger people has a pure awareness of what's happening, and adults tend to have crowded thought and so on and so forth, not to see things as it is, and therefore deluded. There's another one, if I can find from somewhere, or here. This is again from the Milton Erickson, who studied the human behavior, the mind, and effectively communicated its view through hypnosis and so forth. And like I said, all the masters seem to reach to this interesting state. And his comment is, a child mind is rather open thing. Adults tend to restrict themselves. Adults have closed minds. They think they are watching everything. They aren't watching. He was referring to the magician's trick. The magicians are very hesitant if the younger kids come close to him in the audience, because they can see things much better than the adult. So basically he's saying adults have got the routine way of thinking or looking. And conversely, as connected to a point of Picasso that it takes a long time to become young, what is the process? And that's the hardship for the adult and difficulty to become young. And I laugh at it, because we work so hard to develop where we are, the understanding of the world and how we use the mind to be better in living our life. But often we are we are carrying the baggage and be constrained by it rather than being open, liberated, and flexible. So Daisetz Suzuki, I've read many of his books, maybe 30, 40 of them. He said something like, the path of enlightenment is a path covered by thorn bushes. It's difficult. Or from the Bible, I think this is Mark 10:25. It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God. Interesting. Simply said in my term, we cannot just use a brain. We have to connect to our heart, our true self, true love, whatever you call it. And if we have that understanding, the connection, the journey is more fulfilling, interesting, enjoyable, fun, liberated, and so on and so forth. And appreciate the birds singing outside, appreciate the sun, appreciate the food, appreciate what we have. And that's, to me, is a journey. But on the way, we have to do our job. Even some would say, if you meet Buddha, kill Buddha. Because the Buddha in our concept is not the real Buddha, perhaps. The concept by itself cannot do anything when we live. We have to understand in our full body, mind, connecting to the spirit, and that's what this journey is all about. We can talk about the hardship, delusion, suffering, fear, anger, ignorance, all that stuff. There's a comment in the Buddha Sutra, without eliminating delusion, which is like a suffering, fear, anger, ignorance, and so forth, we can gain nirvana. And that's a very profound statement, because very paradoxical. Delusion equate to nirvana. Just to say simple, this is like a third eye, as I see it. There's a paradox, but there's this eye of wisdom to see through it. So you know that there's delusion, and the fact that you know you are in delusion transcends you from delusion, and that's the path of New Hero's journey. So these are the quote that I thought sort of interesting to look at, not to burden ourselves, not to try to understand what it means right now, but rather to be open to even those paradoxical, puzzling possibilities, or try to go beyond the mind that we have accumulated, to be open, to be like children, the kids' mind, beginner's mind. And with that, I think we have a new view of the world and the approaches and the journey and the enjoyment, fun, liberated sense, even intimacy with the nature, people, your lover, and so forth, that we can gain if we are open to it. It's difficult to communicate this point, and I like to go step at a time. In the book I explain much more in an orderly fashion, but as we move on in this blog and the YouTube, I hope you can be with me and give me a feedback so that we can share as we move on and enjoy the process. Thank you.